Yeah, so we've been trying to do the video version of this like 15,000 times, and we're finally doing it. So hi everybody on video, hi everybody that's here on audio only. This is the Crossrip. You know the drill. We've been here. You're listening. You're longtime listeners. We know it. We are going to be building our Eaglemoss kits. We are on issue 6, and we're going to be building stage 18, the front chassis. But before we dive into anything, if you don't know the drill, Chris and I build our kits. We talk about the kits, but we also just talk about all the news that's happening in Ghostbusters, and we talk about things happening in our lives. And I want to start with that beer. What are you drinking? What happened?
Squamish, BC. So it was a bit of a drive. It was about an hour up the road. He's making a Don't Cross the Streams West Coast IPA.
Okay, all right. Yeah. Don't cross the stream. Everybody's got kind of their Ghostbusters themed beers for the Halloween season, it seems.
Halloween season. Well, it's increasing. I think the first one we saw was maybe 7 years ago, something like that. And then it seemed like one a year for a couple of years, and now it seems like there's 4 or 5 every year, which is fine.
I mean, I'm not mad at it. Yeah.
It just meant that this time an actual brewery close to that I could get to. See, I got a pack of 4. I just need to figure out, can I mail beer down to the States to you?
I do not think so. I think that when you start mailing alcohol, it starts getting funky.
Gets to be a thing?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know how long beer survives in a can, but chalk it up as one more thing.
Well,
that we gotta wait for me to be able to travel down to see you. Too bright. No, that's actually okay. Good.
I was going to say, ask our buddy Dinosaur Dracula, who has a 30-year-old can of Ghostbusters pasta that he opened up again.
Did he open? I have one too. And
oh God, it's so gross.
I don't want it. Yeah. Actually, did I sell it off? If I haven't, I think it's on my list of get rid of it because, oh man, I can't imagine just holding on. If I had bought like a clean can at some point that was like empty, sure, maybe I'd still hold on to it. But man, this one.
So tell me more about the beer while you're opening up your package here for stage 18.
It comes in a can and it tastes like beer. I don't know. What do you want me to say?
It's an IPA. Is it super hoppy? Has it got that like hoppy aftertaste?
It's not super hoppy, but it is a little hoppy. It's not my fave.
What makes it crossing the streams? Do they have like some sort of citrus ecto-coolery thing going, or?
They put their regular logo in a no sign and then put some Proton streams on the label.
That's thinking with your marketing noggin right there.
Yeah. Okay. So they say strong beer. Crossing the streams is bad, very bad. So we brewed this West Coast IPA with Galaxy and Galaxy alone. That's code for something I don't know.
Galaxy probably being one of their hops variants.
I guess so, yeah. Didn't want to test it based on how this year is going. Cheers. So basically, I bought an untested, unsampled beer. Some brewmaster somewhere is like, I don't know, it seemed all right.
Let's slap a Ghostbusters label on it. Somebody will buy it. Cheers to that.
It's not exactly the worst business plan I've ever heard. Oh my God, this year's IPA is not so good. Slap Ghostbusters on it, it'll be gone in no time.
No problem. Yeah.
Well, since I was making all that trip, I'm like, I'm not coming back with just 4.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to buy like more than 4. Since I'm pretty sure I'm not going to like it. I don't like IPAs. I'm a light beer kind of guy or a wheat beer kind of guy.
My wife is the same way. She can't do the IPA. I'm fine with IPAs. I'm not opposed to them.
I can drink an IPA, and there's some nice IPAs. It's just, actually, I should say that for all the, the darker the beers get, there's always a nice one out there somewhere that I'll enjoy. It's just generally the darker they are, not my faves. But they had one which was called, how about a can of Shut the Hell Up? Which is a lager, so I like that. And then they had another one, which was, I forget what they called it.
I'm guessing that was like a Happy Gilmore reference?
Maybe.
Get you a nice can of Shut the Hell Up. Yeah.
A strawberry sour, which was not bad.
Interesting. Yeah. I think that's kind of the new craze. Everybody, went through the cider craze for a while, and now everybody's going through a sour phase, and I'm fine with that. I'm down with the sours.
The sours, are they part of that? What the hell? They're not a shandy, but there's another beer thing composite. I saw a lot of those. I can't remember the term for it right now. I'm sure there's at least one or two listeners out there shooting their head off.
Shouting at it. Well, so
It had a word for it. I can't remember what it is, but anyway.
So real quick, just to set up our Eaglemoss kit, stage 18, the front chassis here. We're working on the front chassis part, adding on to our awesome. This is the build that we have both in front of Chris and myself. What we have with the engine that we mounted on last builds episode, and it looks like this is going to be a pretty straightforward. So maybe we're going to get we're going to get past stage 18 and go on to 19.
I think we're going to go to 19. Shout out to Mr. Doug Fisher.
Yes. I was going to say, you sent me a photo as soon as you got it. You've got the your pillbox. I don't know what else to call it.
Yeah, exactly. Space-wise, it's a bit of an overkill. Like each spot holds way more. But that's okay. I'll repurpose it later on for something else. But right now, it's okay. I peel the stickers off. Or I did. I don't think I have to peel too many more off now. Arrange them alphabetically by plastic and metal. And I ended up with enough of these little baggies that I'm selling to the local meth dealer. So that's good.
Wow. You've got your own Breaking Bad starting here on the air.
I listened to Giancarlo Esposito on... Whose podcast was he on? I was listening to it just this morning, too.
Well, I'm sure he's got to be everywhere because of Mandalorian right now.
Oh, he was on Seth Meyers. Late Night with Seth Meyers. He got on there. That guy is a ball of sunshine. I'm going to tell you that right now. And Seth even brought it up. It's like, for somebody who plays villains so often and so well.
He is the nicest. I mean, I don't want to. This is a humble bragging, but so I worked on the Maze Runner films, Scorch Trials, and Giancarlo Esposito is one of the characters in that. And same thing, you see him in Breaking Bad, and you expect him to show up. It's like when you meet Charles Dance for the first time, and you're like, oh my God, you're going to be so intimidating, Terrell Lannister. I can't, but he's like the nicest dude. And same thing with Giancarlo Esposito. He showed up and was like, wanted to know everybody's names, shook everybody's hands. Well, I take it back. He didn't shake our hands because he's got a little bit of a cold when we were in New Mexico, and he's like, I got a cold. I don't want to shake your hands. He was so cool, so genuine, and so nice. But I guess all the good bad guys. Alan Rickman apparently was that kind of way too. Like everybody talks about Alan Rickman being one of the nicest dudes, but always played the heavy bad guy.
Third Vancouver Fan Expo that and the first year that Fan Expo let the Ghostbusters British Columbia help organize the after party and then not tell them that they had organized their own separate paid event sort of thing.
Okay.
After I left, I saw photos from the rest of the guys who were hanging out there. Giancarlo was a guest that year to the expo, and he wandered in off the street. He had gotten wind of the party and wandered off to find it, which is funny because he was probably at the paid one, and that had a time slot. And when that time slot is over, I guess it was probably just a bunch of people waiting for their $40 opportunity to go shake a hand and get an autograph photo sort of thing, get their picture taken with him. And he wandered off and found the other party, and I guess he just stayed on for the night, which... That happened with the first party, too. Andy Serkis was in town doing checking on effects stuff for the Planet of the Apes.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense, because that was all done out of Vancouver, too, yeah.
Yeah, and he literally had no idea. He wasn't at Fan Expo. He was in town for work, but he was walking. The party was on the Granville Strip, and he saw the party and wandered on in, homed in on Alex of the Ghostbusters of British Columbia, proceeded to basically get him drunk. It was awesome. Again, I had left as father with obligations. I had left by that point, but they're like sending me notes going, Alex is drunk. Andy Serkis is here.
Andy Serkis is responsible. Well, hey, I don't want to get too far in without us talking about, because the way that things worked, your very excellent WGBI mixtape was last week. And
how did that work out?
It worked out wonderfully.
I never remember these things. Except I remember your daughter, who is
Oh my
way
God.
too adorable.
Well, you said send me 12 seconds, just saying hi, and I was like, okay, cool. And I couldn't get away. She is like tied to me at my hip 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and so she had to be included. It just had to happen that way.
Oh, she was the best part. It would have been boring with just you now that I realized that it would have been
boring with just me. I would rather I'll just have her co-host this podcast in my spot from this
Honest to
point forward.
God, without telling you, I think I'm going to sell the little clip of her saying "Happy Halloween, everybody" on online sound sites. I'm going to make a killing.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Yes, just fantastic. And actually, the best part is that you barely get 2 words out, and she's chastising you that you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, I want to do it. Yeah,
the clip is golden. It's,
but so that was last week, and was wonderful, and we had that slotted in because we wanted that to be in celebration of Halloween last week, and we got to get that out before you can't have the Halloween mixtape after Halloween, and the late
there's no
breaking
such thing
news.
as a Thanksgiving mixtape.
No, you don't. You definitely don't want that. So we decided to air that. I did a single episode just to get the breaking news out there into the feed, but Ghostbusters Afterlife has moved officially to June 11th, 2021. And you and I had been... we'd been talking about that it was pretty much inevitable. We'd been speculating that another move seemed like it was going to be possible. And I mentioned it in the episode that I sort of rambled through on my own, but not entirely unexpected. So all the people that were like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. I was not among those. I was like, oh, yep, that makes sense. I knew this was coming. Totally. June 11th, I didn't think was happening. That was all Craig Goldberg of Yes Have Some. He put down a bet and was like, well, now that Jurassic World is not there, I bet that's where Ghostbusters goes. And I was like, yeah, okay, maybe. Sure enough, that's what ended up happening.
I mean, there's a lot to discuss, but I think all of it boils down to, like I was thinking about this the other day, it's really just a matter of different pros and cons.
Yeah.
And they are...
see it like this.
Oops, that one. Man. So we were talking before, things were very uncertain, but March, they were going to do the out early and just dominate because, the world would be looking for stuff.
Sure.
Now everything's been pushed back because nobody trusts March right now, as we're all going back to...
lousy Smarch weather, yeah.
We're not going back to the lobby. We're not going back to the lobby.
It's true. It's sad. I mean, we laugh, but it's just... we're nowhere near that. Especially with France and Germany now shutting down again for their next wave. It's just... you kind of look to them as to what's going to happen here. Yeah.
And we talked about this before, that a lot of people were saying, one of the indicators was, you want to know where things are going, check what the big companies are doing. And, places like Microsoft and Google were like, forget it. Nobody has to come back to work for like a year.
Yeah.
So that's places that they don't have the answer. They just went, we don't have the precise answer, but this is going to take a while. So let's just...
oh, and nobody has the answers. That's just kind of the point here, is nobody knows... and we're all waiting on bated breath for the release of a Ghostbusters movie where it's like, there are other things right now that are going on and nobody has answers to those bigger things that make the delivery date and release date of a Ghostbusters movie completely contingent.
I know some people started immediately hollering, release it video on demand. This is not the movie for that.
Well, and we've talked about that before. Yeah. I mean, why... because everybody, the devil's advocate is always, well, it made, like, Bill and Ted made so much money that they were surprised by it.
Yeah, Trolls made a lot more than people expected.
Trolls made so much money.
Mulan did pretty good, all that stuff. And it's like, yeah, but, like, for example, Trolls, kids movie, very different animal when it comes to home video stuff. Mulan is on Disney's own service.
Right, so Disney's getting 100% of the whatever.
Exactly. And Bill and Ted, God love it, is not a blockbuster movie. It's a cute little nostalgic, callback. And so they went out, and I think they probably did pretty good with that plan. But this goes like Bill and Ted's done now. They're not making more Bill and Ted's.
Yeah.
This Ghostbusters wants to make more Ghostbusters.
And I feel like that that's kind of the argument that I always go back to, is like, this is a franchise restarter, a franchise fire starter, to run on the theme of last week's WGBI. But it's like Ghostbusters Afterlife, and we're all saying like it's supposed to be a movie you see on the big screen. It's got the big screen experience, and everybody goes, yeah, but I'm not going to see a movie on the big screen now for 2 years, so what does it matter? I want to see it now. And I get that too, but like we've waited 30 years for this movie. What's another 6 months? What's another 8 months? What's another 12 months? What if they and again, I'm setting us up. What if they push this movie again, which is totally possible. There's a good chance that
it's not
this
impossible.
movie moves again to fall of next year or even into 2022, depending on how things are going.
That's a bit of a long shot. I think it's not impossible. I just don't think it's a too serious a concern quite yet. But by the same token, the other thing to bear in mind too is like, so now going back to some of our early speculation, you make this movie, and this movie is about setting up future movies, right?
Yeah.
Well, who are you setting up as the team? So Paul Rudd and Carrie Coon probably, but they put Phoebe in a pack. They put her pal in some gear and all that. Like, there's every indication that they want to bring the kids in, too. You put the movie out in 2019. When can you do the second movie? Because those kids are still going to be relatively young. Except now, by the time this movie hits theaters, those kids are going to be a year older, at least.
It's going to turn into Stranger Things, where we just watched Hubie Halloween, and what's his name, Noah Schnapp, who was in Stranger Things, looks like a 30-year-old dude now, which presents some problems for season 4 of Stranger Things, because they're all going to look, oh, that's cool. Sorry, I'm flipping through the magazine while we're talking here too, and just checking out what's. We got
You're ahead
Peter
of me,
Bernstein.
is what you're saying? A very passive-aggressive way to let me know that you're ahead of me. But fine, whatever. I've become used to it in our working relationship.
But now you can actually see. Like, I can see what you're working on, so it's okay.
That's true, so it's handy that way.
Yeah, there's some great personal photos of Peter and Elmer Bernstein together here.
So I like to think that all this does, pushing it back and all that, is it really solidifies the idea that if the interest in making more movies is there, and if the studio reaction is as positive as we've heard to this first one, then yeah, I think, another reason for this movie to come out in proper theaters and make a boatload of cash, because then they want to get the movie train going on follow-ups and all that, and you're not going to do that if you put it out in video on demand. Then Ghostbusters is over as a movie franchise for a while.
Yeah, and I know now, seeing what they're doing with No Time to Die, the next Bond film, there was, and I don't know how it's resolved because it's still kind of evolving right now, but I saw that they were trying to sell it now to maybe Amazon Prime. Seeing how the new Borat film did so well on Amazon Prime, I think they're trying to find alternate places to release the Bond film because traditionally those are November films. Those always usually come out in the fall, and they don't want to wait till next fall.
No.
So what do you do?
The other thing to bear in mind too is that Ghostbusters is all Sony. Bond is not all Sony.
Bond is like split like a pie now. I have no idea who gets all of Bond anymore.
Which means then there's a lot of people that get to have input on that matter, and B, Sony has less of a, like, they don't have a full stake to worry about, right? Even if they're like, no, we don't wanna, and 6 other parties go, yes, we do, and Sony's like, ugh, man, I'm not gonna fight over my 20% cut of this.
I mean, so the good news is it's not that much longer of a wait. We were waiting for March of next year, now we're just waiting for June of next year. Yes, it's a few months.
I'm going on to step 2.
Okay, cool. I'm just getting stage 19 ready for when you're ready. But yeah, I mean, it's not that much longer of a wait. We were going to wait for March anyway, so what's waiting until June? Or, I mean, it is kind of nice now because it puts it in this nice, neat bow where Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, and now Ghostbusters Afterlife have all come out that release week in June. That That's Ghostbusters spot. Now we're talking about No Time to Die wanting to fall into the traditional November Thanksgiving in the U.S. release date. Now Ghostbusters gets its June release date, just sort of like its predecessors do. So it's kind of it is. There's a little bit of symmetry there that works really well.
Call it fate, call it luck, call it karma.
Now, Chris,
I believe everything happens for a reason. Yes.
You say this line, but it harkens back to that trailer, that the one and only trailer, if you don't count the teaser that announced the film. Everybody said, well, okay, fine, move the movie to June. Just give me a trailer. Give me something. Give me some sort of imagery to help me get through this. And so far, as of when we're recording this, let's see, this is the 28th of October. Nothing is out there yet. Now, we could be recording an emergency podcast on October 31st. I have no idea if a trailer is going to end up coming out on the 31st, but there's a strong possibility there will be something. Maybe it's one of those things that they were filming on the Sony lot. Maybe it's something else. Or maybe it's a trailer that they've had in their pocket for quite some time. But what does, again, moving the film, let's see, March, April, May, June, 3 months. I had to do the math on my fingers. Now everybody can watch as I do finger math. 3 months, does that move a trailer 3 months too? If they were planning to have a trailer come out in October, are we now probably looking at a like December Christmas trailer release, do you think?
Whatever they were going to plan in the month or so leading up to the movie's original release, I think they're probably going to still sit on that. But we talked about this before. Now they have the problem of they got to show something. So is there stuff they can show us that isn't going to completely spoil the movie for us, but still keep us kind of excited?
Right.
Which goes a long way to the argument of, they're out there filming, because that way you don't have to, what can we cut out of what we have to solve this problem? You can just go, why don't we just film some new stuff?
Let's give them a short film that maybe either ties into something or is some sort of like a teaser or
ties into something, or or let's be honest here. There's a lot of ways they could shoot some stuff, marry it into the footage they have, and be kind of, red herring with it. I mean, remember all the stuff the Avenger movies filmed because they didn't want to give any secrets away and all that.
Use some deleted scenes and put together some sort of like a clip or a scene or something that goes up online on Halloween. That's like we talked about a short film, but it could just be like a little sequence, a little edited together something or other.
Yeah, or somebody came up with a clever joke that really fits in the scene, but not in the overall movie. Great. Shoot it for the a particular scene added in, and then it's just not in the final movie. And we'll all be certainly entertained by it. And you sure we're going to get to the next one? This was misleading. These screws are hard.
Did I just throw a part away? Hold on. Oh, no, it's right here. Jeez. I think, the toughest part that I had on stage 18 is once you've assembled that front chassis, they ask you to, and I'm going to demonstrate because I actually have video here for those that are watching it. They ask you to flip it over and put those pieces onto that back side, which I feel like maybe I should have assembled before I attach this to the actual chassis, because you can't set it down on the engine block. You don't want to put any weight on,
that's a good point.
It's very heavy now. It's starting to get super heavy. So if you put any weight on this, it's going to pop it.
I'll
put it on its side. I put it on the wheels.
Right.
And then
I think I'll try the other way. I'm going to finish tapping these holes here, and then I'm going to try what you suggest, and I'll skip the step and put those pieces in first.
Yeah, maybe that's the way to do it, because these guys right here.
By the way, I remember how proud I was that I went out and bought a proper set of micro screwdrivers here for this thing.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here wondering how much money I'd have to spend to get a pair of micro tappers for all the different screws they have.
just to help ease things up a little bit.
Oh, just a proper tool for tapping these holes.
Well, take your time. I mean, I think if we get through 18 and 19, we're in good shape. We do have tons of stuff to talk about, so also keep that in mind, because we haven't talked about. Well, wait, let's talk about it now. The video game side of things. This past week, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we have Fortnite DLC for Ghostbusters.
Yep.
I mean, not even DLC, I guess skins and things of that. And we talked about, there was a tease that there was the Ecto-1 in a barn, so we kind of knew something was coming. And then Rocket League had all of their gifts and accessible goodies that all went live this past week.
Not DLC so much as accessories these days, I guess. Downloadable content was usually kind of reserved for, story arc add-ons and stuff like that.
Levels and things like that.
Fortnite doesn't really operate in that way. But you can buy yourself uniforms, Ghostbusters uniforms. Get yourself a Proton pack. Get yourself
there's
a Proton
Ghostbusters
sledgehammer.
Emotes, right? Like you can do like the Kevin dance or something like that. I think I saw. Or
oh god, if the Ray Parker Jr. video finger point dance isn't in there, opportunity 100% lost. I haven't checked into that yet.
So this is where I 100% sound like the old man yelling at people to get off their lawn. I tried Fortnite and I couldn't get into it. I tried it when it first started to really get super hot. And
Fortnite is the ultimate expression of young person Twitch speed benefits. It's just a move real fast shooter. Like I'm a Battlefield guy where I can do a lot of stop, assess.
Yeah, let me see the battleground. I feel like that's why I like Squadrons, is because I get to sort of there's some sort of strategy, and I can strategize. All right, I'm going to sort of lead you into this corner, or I'm going to fly on the other side of this wreckage, and then I'm going to catch you on the other side, and you're right there in my crosshairs. Fortnite, it was just like, wait, I gotta build stuff while I'm trying to shoot you, and while I'm building the thing, you shoot me, and anyway. So I know that this is a big deal.
It's a fun game. There's no disparaging the design. It is very good. It is very popular. It is not for everybody. It is very much beloved by kid circles that I'm aware of, and the 20-something YouTubers that they worship, who are going to fade like the rest of us. Feel their powers weaken.
This is true.
As young people will come up behind them.
And it's going to get me so much hate, but I kind of equate Fortnite to Minecraft, where it's just like, I know that I'm not the demo for it. I know that I shouldn't be into it, and I'm accepting of that.
I don't know if I'd honestly say that. I mean, Minecraft is kind of fun too in its own way. The some of the stuff that's grown out of it, of Minecraft, is not desperately, not our thing. But again, you can't fault it. It made what's his name, Mojang, a bazillion dollars. So.
And same thing with Fortnite. They have action figures and merchandise and all sorts of crazy stuff.
Very expensive action figures, by the
way. So anyway, so if you're into the Fortnites, if you're into the Rocket League, I know more people are probably into the Rocket League that listen to the show. I know. So
a quick breakdown, just because people, if they're not aware of it. So Fortnite, it's a shooter. You run around, try to be the last person standing. They've gotten costumes, Ghostbusters weapon gear. A ecto style glider, because that's one of the things you jump out above the battlefield in the sky
at the beginning of the round.
So people have their kites and parachutes and gliders, and the ecto is the glider you can get is kind of ecto styled, and then hidden away in one of the maps in a barn, a la Afterlife. Is the old ecto, and if you bash away at it, it'll make the ecto siren noises until it breaks up into resources, which the game uses. That's what you use to build stuff. Rocket League is soccer with cars. That's basically it. That's the pitch.
Yeah, when they did the Ecto-1, I don't know, that was like 3 or 4 months ago, 5 months ago, 6 months ago, 2 years ago. I don't understand anymore, but it was awesome. Like, everybody was using the Ecto-1 as their skinned car, and I think that they sort of latched onto that and knew that it was a big hit. So just
so
in time for Halloween.
They brought it back. They brought in a couple more styled, like slime styled cars. If you score a goal, you can buy. They all have explosion like firework effects, and you can get one that's the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man appears.
That's cool.
Stuff like that. And yeah, this is very typical of Sony's co-branding model that they like to do with Ghostbusters. Is find a game that people enjoy, and then work with them to produce some Ghostbusters themed content for it.
Yeah, and it's kind of tough for you and I to keep up with all of these because they always do like the Left 4 Dead 2 was one, and all of these games that end up having some sort of like a Ghostbuster skin to it, and but it's cool. I mean, like you said, this is kind of Sony's. This is one way to gain awareness for Ghostbusters as a property, especially with Fortnite. It was a big deal for all of the Fortnite crowd that there was new, skins and material and things that you could be getting for your characters. And
it's a very good plan because it wasn't on our agenda, but I always like bringing her channel up. Ashley Burton, one of many millennial YouTubers that does movie react stuff. She did Ghost. She's been doing a Halloween series Mondays and Wednesdays, maybe Fridays.
This is the girl that did Close Encounters, the one that you were talking about. That did that, yeah.
Well, I didn't realize it, but she's been doing funny scary on Wednesdays and slashery scary on Mondays, and she did Ghostbusters, and she loved it. But her whole series is built around the fact that I was totally going to do that thing you suggested, and then I didn't do that thing you suggested.
This is a very this is a very trying test in multitasking, where we're trying to talk about stuff while we're videoing, while we're building things.
Whose idea was this?
I don't know. This is why it kind of failed the last time, and we were trying to troubleshoot technical issues at the exact same time. It didn't really go that well.
I got a crappy Tupperware container here that's been holding onto junk. I'm gonna see if maybe I can use it as a.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a little easel here that I propped it up against.
That's kind of helping, I guess. Anyways, the point being about Ashley is that she's 26, and she falls squarely into the category of people that I'm aghast when they say they haven't seen X. Like, we just assume people have. It's hard to. How do I put this? So she's 26. So let's say, what years is 20? So what is that? 94. She was born. So let's say she hits fun movie age at about.
Fun movie age? I like that.
Well, the teenage age, I guess, is when you start looking for movies on your own. So 2004 to 2010-ish, is that right? Maybe. So yeah. So think about that. If you're born, you get to 2010. And you're like, whatever that is, 15, and somebody says, hey, see this movie from 1984. What was it at that point? That was 25 years.
Yeah.
So in 84, when I saw Ghostbusters, 25 years prior, 24 years, 1960s.
The 60s? Yeah, movies from the 50s, 60s.
Hey, kid, watch, Our Man Flint or whatever, and I would have been like, what the hell are you talking about?
I mean, when you put things in perspective like that, it is really like I'm sitting listening to 80s music with my daughter, and I'm realizing that it is, in terms of time, the same amount of time as when I was listening to oldies with my parents in the 80s. That same sort of 50s and 60s. I'm now listening to the music from the 80s, actually longer. God, it's even longer than that too. That's the disturbing. I'm old. We're old. Why are we doing this? This is just going to depress me, and I'm all out of my old-fashioned. So yeah, I mean, it's introducing Ghostbusters. I mean, the good news with Ghostbusters is that there is always awareness. Anybody, especially now during the COVID age, where we have, people going around with the disinfectant packs with the spray guns, and they're in there disinfecting chairs and tables and all sorts of things. check social media. Everybody's always making Ghostbusters comments and jokes on that. So
Somebody
Ghostbusters is in the zeitgeist constantly. It is totally evergreen.
There's protests going on in Belarus, and somebody sent a video that the premier or president or prime minister, I don't know who the leader of Belarus is, but the guy they're trying to get stepped down, somebody made a no him logo, right? Like,
yeah.
And that existed before Ghostbusters, I'm sure, but Ghostbusters turned it into a thing that is now 100% everywhere.
So again, it's giving that awareness, and it's actually really great because this was not sort of in the cards because it just now happened at Halloween. This was not going to happen in advance of Ghostbusters Afterlife. Now it's happening a good 6 months, 8 months out from the release of Ghostbusters Afterlife, which is great because
it might work to their advantage.
Yeah, and so you've got Halloween.
Better work to their advantage.
Yeah, a young audience getting into, and the other part of this that we need to talk about is that the Epic Games store put Ghostbusters the video game up for free. So it's also introducing people to Ghostbusters the video game that didn't play it. Now with 2 releases, when it first released and now when they did the remastered release, here it is now available for free through the Epic Store, and
temporarily, not for
temporarily. I think as a tie-in for Fortnite, because they wanted to make sure that Ghostbusters was also available as a game that way. So it's really opening a whole lot of doors here for people that are maybe not familiar with all of the Ghostbusters things. That if you're listening to a Ghostbusters podcast, you probably are aware exist. You've already played through the story modes multiple times, things like that. So that's super cool. And I thought it was going to be the thing that got me into Fortnite, and unfortunately, it's not. Sorry. I'm really sorry. I downloaded Fortnite again on my Switch, and I was totally gonna, and it didn't work.
Now Rocket League, I'm definitely gonna get that stuff.
Rocket League, I'm more into that. I do play that
from time to time. And that one actually recently changed to a free-to-play game, meaning they're banking on making all their money off of you buying things like
all the Ghostbuster stuff. So,
not just Ghostbusters, but as an example, all the other cool add-ons they have.
So what do you want to talk about next? Max Factory, that's a fun thing. We also need to talk about that Sony spatial awareness monitor.
Yes.
Let's talk about Max. Let's talk about Max Factory, because I see you're almost done with that stage. And then I'm not. Spoiler alert: stage 19 is like the easiest stage you're ever gonna do. So I'm just gonna hang and
my
talk.
hands are so cramped right now.
Oh no!
Well, tapping all those little metal screws gets to you after a while. It really
it's
is.
true, and it's all such a micro movement thing. But so anyway,
hang on. Adding HM. I had no extra H's. There we go. Now I have.
Maybe that's why I'm always so far ahead of you, because I take the little baggie with the extra thing and I just toss it onto my little desk that's over here that's off camera.
Might be.
I'm not like sorting these like HM goes there, and I'm not that organized. I usually am that organized, but
is it literally just the single underplate?
It is,
isn't it?
So it's this underplate, and then you're just adding in these 2 hooks. What do they call them? Sorry, there are names to them. Oil pipe covers. We got the oil pipe covers because we're gonna end up threading the pipes through here in the next stage. So yeah, super easy.
Different book.
So Max Factory is new to me, but I understand that the owner proprietor is somebody who's been in the community a long time, so that's good news. But kind of following in the footsteps of Anovos, Chronicle, Hollywood Collectibles, people trying to get one-to-one prop replicas into the hands of fans around the world. So Max Factory is now, as far as I know, because I don't think Anovos is able to do this anymore, the only official source for you to pick up a prop kit for a Proton pack. They've got the shell, and it looks like the thrower. They're going to have their own kit. Everything has been stamped by the seal of Ghost Core's approval, and so you're getting an official licensed version of the merchandise as you purchase it. So it's very cool. It looks to me like it's very streamlined based upon the little solicit that we saw as we record this. That all we've seen is a little bit of imagery for it, but it looks to me like they're kind of going the IKEA route. Sorry guys, I know that oversimplifies things, but that's what it looks like to me. Is it's just very easy and very simple. Like, here's how you can assemble your proton pack. Your thrower.
It's not assembling every bits and piece. You're getting chunks that.
You're getting chunks, and you're getting things that are pre-prepped for you. Like the shell that they have up on their Instagram looks to me like it is sanded and it is primed, and it's like a lot of the hard kind of like grunt work that needs to be done prior to actually like assembling things and painting things and weathering things, like that's already been done for you. All of that sort of like prep work has been done. So very exciting. In terms of price point, I don't know that we've seen that yet. I went to their website just before we recorded and I didn't see that info, but it literally was just announced today as we're recording this. So we'll try to get some more info for everybody out there. And
yeah, I mean, every other business model has been approached from sell you an expensive, fully made pack, who's selling you licensed but stripped down, plasticky kind of,
yeah,
like the Spirit Pack versions and stuff like that.
The mass-produced versions of things, yeah.
The last piece of the puzzle was an official version of what's been happening all along, which is selling you parts.
Well, and we should clarify too. This is now the officially licensed version, but this is not, to my understanding. This is just me speculating on things, but this is not stopping anybody else from selling their parts. Like if you go into GB Fans and you go into the for sale section, all of that is still going to be valid. Even GB Fans' shop is still there. So it gives you options. Yeah. It gives you more options.
It's just more options and more price options too, is what it comes down to. I mean, the gold standard and the price point standard will still always be buying every bit and bob, trying to buy the official gigas that have to be sourced and are becoming rarer and rarer.
Sculpting your own shell from the measurements and things that have been taken, because there is a whole lot of like handcrafted quality to proton packs. If once they start being very symmetrical and once they start feeling very mass produced, they don't feel right. And that's just because there is such a sort of slapdash, kludged together feel to these proton packs that's what makes them charming and that's what makes them feel great. And that's why everybody's weathering is different. That's why some people do the hammered spray paint, some people don't. Some people like a nice, smooth, shiny, non-weathered proton pack because they want it to feel brand new. Some people want theirs beat up and dusty as hell. So your mileage may vary. Whatever you prefer, it's sort of, that's kind of what now Max Factory is also giving you as well. If you look at the shell for Max Factory and you compare that to the one that's available on GB Fans, and maybe there's a price difference, maybe there's a style difference, maybe there's some little nuance in one shell is different than the other one. Maybe one was molded off of like that Spangler superhero pack that's been in the Sony archives for quite some time, and I think that's what a Novos was. So it's giving people options, and it's giving people official options, which I think is kind of a big deal.
Yep.
That it's now been acknowledged officially by somebody somewhere, probably Eric at Ghost Core, let's not lie, that there are fans that want to be able to purchase these things, and they have blessed officially one license to do this. And maybe they're going to start handing out more official licenses. Maybe GB Fans is officially licensed. Maybe not. I hope they're not going to shut all these places down. I don't think they will, because there's no competition there. But maybe people will look at Max Factories and say, wow, that's the easy button for me to just push, and I get a shell, I get a motherboard, I get an Alice pack.
Let's be honest here. Yeah. The only thing they could really crack down on is calling it Ghostbusters anything. So if you go to GB Fans and they say ribbon cable, it's not like Sony can say, stop selling that ribbon cable.
Ribbon cable, you have to cease and desist.
So people who still want to make using, differently sourced materials. I mean, really, the only thing that Sony can crack down on is identifiable chunks of any given piece of equipment, if not the whole piece of equipment, right? So,
Yeah.
I think here, when you think about it, things like we saw in the picture that when they made their announcement, it looks like they're probably aluminum milling the thrower handle like bodies,
which is the way to do it. I mean, the resin, it's just too unwieldy now.
Absolutely
and too
the way
heavy.
to do it.
Yeah.
That thing is, it's enough that you could give somebody the official. I think, to be honest, what we're seeing is that Sony's given the official license, and it's the official license to use the name. Really, is what
True.
it comes down to.
And it looks like they're going to put the Ghostbusters logo on stuff, so that's a big part of it too. You've got to make sure that you've got the blessing of.
It'll have the stamp, Sony pictures, whatever. But that's not going to stop anybody else from.
No.
I mean, it can't. There's no laws that say you can't, make your own private Proton pack, however the heck you want to make it.
And something tells me that Sony has no interest in.
No.
So a shout out to Ecto Labs, who I got my Cath Max GB1 style. His names are fantastic. The Cath Max. But the leg hose for my uniform. So he's selling them up on GB Fans. I think he's got a waiting list going right now for them.
Let's put it this way.
I don't see Sony Pictures officially licensing a Cath Max hose. The things that fans will want to have, there's like, okay, guys, you want to do a leg hose? Fine, just it's whatever.
Why would Sony open new avenues to more fans being, accessible to making and wearing their own Proton packs, and then cut that number down? You know what I mean? By shutting down all the fan stuff. To be honest, the fan stuff that proved the model, right? Like,
that it's something that's viable and people are actually looking for. So
I don't think it's. I think this is one of those situations where, it's not a competition, and the field is still wide open, and this is just going to, for people who are like, the Spirit pack is too small, the Innovo pack is too expensive, plus I kind of want to build my own, but I don't have the time and money to build all the little bits and bobs. They now have the option to go, like, so for example, I have, like, there's probably some guy out there, there's at least one guy out there he found an Alice frame, he's been sitting on it for 8 years, promising himself that this was the year he was going to turn it into a Proton pack.
I'm going to build a pack. Yeah.
And now he has the option, he's like, oh, cool. You know what? All I have to do now is go buy the resin, the fiberglass shell from so-and-so, because I really like the shells that I've seen from them. And then I'm going to go to Max, and I'm going to buy all the bits and pieces to jam them all together. So,
so how are you feel? Where are you at are you done with stage 19?
I'm mostly fascinated that the camera thinks my my second camera is an extra-dimensional visitor that it keeps.
I just now noticed that.
I got to work on that.
Your B camera's been in the shot this whole time. We're working out the kinks,
and
guys,
the worst of it is done right. When it actually stays, it acts as a mirror, a second angle in the. Anyways.
Maybe just play it off like you did that on purpose, so that we could see.
I absolutely did that on purpose. Angle. I'm not a hack.
So we have to talk about Reebok. We have to talk about the Sony screen. Should we do stage 20? I'm looking at it, and it's another big part of the chassis. So I feel like we can probably do.
Yes.
All right.
Boy, yeah. Okay, let's.
So let me grab 20. I've got it.
And not only that, it marries into the But let's close it all up. Forget it. We're done for the night. No, here we go.
We'll do it live. Holy moly!
Do
this
it
thing
live.
is giant size. Okay. So let's talk Reebok while we do stage 20.
Love them. I can't wear either of them.
I don't think any of them are wearable. Somebody pointed that out, like the bug stompers, whatever the bug stomper versions, the Proton packs are called. They have like the hoses and stuff hanging out of the back, and it's like you wear that once and it's gonna get ripped off or fall off or like, yeah. I feel like
people collect shoes or sneakers. Right?
And people put them out on display. Like, they're not sneakers that you wear. You're putting them on like a cool shoe rack display. But
oh my God, have you seen how many little screws there are?
there
what
are
have
a
you
lot
done
of little.
to us?
Well, I think we got this.
I honestly, $100 is not the worst price I've ever heard for the classic leathers, and I could see myself wearing those.
The classic leathers look more like a shoe that is wearable, as opposed to the bug stompers or ghost stompers, which are more of a display piece. I think. To all of the people out there who have purchased them, because they've already been up for sale and they've already started shipping them, so people have them in hand, and they look really good, especially the classic leather ones. The shoes themselves are fantastic. The boxes that they come in are fantastic. And then somebody pointed out that if you look really closely at the wrapping paper that the shoes come in, it's the map that Paul Rudd's character holds up in the trailer for Ghostbusters Afterlife. So that like seismographic survey of the whatever the earthquakes are happening.
This has hoses.
Yeah.
This has hoses, Troy. You've ruined my evening.
I'm gonna go get another drink, guys. Hold that thought. I'm just kidding. I still feel good about this.
Yeah, actually, now that you mention, I've seen people's photos of the map. So that is extremely cool.
Yeah, so very cool that those little attention. I mean, again, these are probably things that were scheduled to be released with Afterlife in theaters, or just about to be in theaters, or already having been in theaters. So it's cool that those little hints and those little winks and nods are still actually being released, because these Reebok shoes we probably may not have seen until.
Did you notice this?
Summer of next year. Notice what?
How do I? Here we are. Obviously, where a speaker goes.
Oh.
There's no.
Well, there's a light and sound kit I think that you can get for this, right?
Probably, yeah. I say that because honestly, right now, I don't know. I seem to recall that yes, it was something you could get.
Connecting the oil pipes. Yeah. Interesting. So anyway, this middle chassis we're just going to attach to that top piece that we're just working on.
Satisfying noise.
I mean, yeah, these are no joke. Like, these are heavy duty die cast metal. I'm not gonna lick it. No.
Over. Okay. Oh wow.
So it goes like this, and that goes on top.
How's this gonna work? How's this gonna work?
Get over there, engine. Get out of my way. So the other stuff that was released with Reebok was some clothing, which... Oh, I see. Okay. Sorry, I had to stop talking in order to figure out how I'm going to do this.
Needed whole brain.
Needed whole brain to figure out how to put screws into metal piece. Clothing-wise, some shirts, it's very similar to the Element skateboard line in the sense that they've got like just Ghostbusters logo shirts that they're releasing.
Yeah.
And some cool stuff, but they're also releasing these like Reebok jumpsuits that kind of look like the flight suits, but also kind of look like I'm not cool enough to wear that jumpsuit. I think my reaction to somebody was like, I wish I was cool enough to wear that. I don't think I can pull that off. That's one of those where it's like, if I wore that in public, people would either think that I'm Jason Sudeikis' character and What's Up With That? You know how he always wears like that red tracksuit?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what it reminds me of. I'm a cool like backup dancer.
Right.
Or they kind of just look like union suit pajamas to me. Like I'm just not cool enough to do it, I don't think.
You've reminded me of a Matt Bronger bit in one of his stand-up albums. Shuffle Fighter or Big Dumb Animal? I think it's Big Dumb Animal. But he's got a bit where he talks about he's getting old, but he's a sucker to the opinion of young people. And he talked about how he was killing time, went into a skate shop, and he's looking at some big chunky watches, and he looked over at the young kid behind the counter and said, "Don't know if I can pull those off." And the kid's like, "You pull off whatever the hell you want." "You're right, I can." Paid him, walked out of the store. "We're friends now." Bye. I think that's true. I don't know if I can pull this off. You can pull off whatever you want.
Pull off whatever you want.
You're right. You bet I can.
I mean, the element stuff, like, that makes me feel like, because a lot of stuff that is branded for Ghostbusters, a lot of stuff that is branded toward just kind of pop culture nerd fandom stuff in general, is usually kind of ugly. You go into Walmart and they have a bunch of cool, like, shirts all over the place. But usually the Ghostbusters stuff, it's like that one shirt of, like, the bulked up Moogly, he's, like, been working out. And I'm like, I don't get that. Why am I going to wear that?
It's hit or miss. I mean, basically those things are made so cheap. They just make enough to sell to whoever's interested in wearing one. It doesn't have to be that specific.
Yeah.
Like, they made a sequin one of those reversible sequined No-Ghost logo shirts.
Yeah.
Those were cool. Some straight up glow in the dark logo ones I bought for Thomas at Walmart. And I'm going to interject briefly here, only because you brought it up. When Ryan, Mr. Fabulous Dole, and I went to get the beer last weekend.
Do we have to call him Mr. Fabulous now? Is that a thing?
No.
Okay.
It's a promise I made to his mother when he died.
Because at one point we had to call him Relevant, and now he's Mr. Fabulous. Like, is he in the Blues Brothers? Do we have to go seek him out? But okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. No, you don't have to.
Mr. Fabulous.
Mr. Fabulous. We stopped at a couple of Walmarts because he's hanging out with me, but he's thinking about the Yes Have Some crew and their toy therapy.
People watching or listening to this podcast right now, you're all thinking about Yes Have Some anyway. It's fine. We understand where we fit in the priorities.
I listen to the Crossrip, but I'm really thinking about Yes Have Some.
I'm really thinking about that's some.
So we stopped because he was looking for some stuff. I don't know, turtles or a transformer or something. I have no idea, but he spotted it first in the kids section. They had a whole bunch of. It was very strange because they were kid sizes only masks, and some were animals and all that. And then some were, for example, Animal House. And I'm like, what 7-year-old needs an Animal House mask?
For kids? Like face masks.
Face masks. As in, cover your mouth when you cough, COVID masks. Animal House. But they had Ghostbusters. So I got Thomas a Ghostbusters one.
I mean, Ghostbusters makes sense. Even though Ghostbusters, but Animal House? That's...
And then in looking for, shirts and stuff for Thomas, thermal underwear. Emblazoned with the No Ghost logo, just like Ray surely would have worn coming out of the sewers in Ghostbusters 2.
If only it would have been available to him. Yeah.
Yeah, so, $8 thermal underwear for your kid with No Ghost logos all over it. Hell yeah.
That's cool. But kids get all the cool stuff. That's and even going back to the original point of, like, the adult stuff kind of being ugly and gaudy, kids always get the stuff that looks cooler. And I get it, the kids are cooler. But so the point being that the Element skate stuff has made me feel like, I can get something that has the Ghostbusters logo on it that looks cool and looks stylish. And Reebok has kind of that same sense. Like the Reebok stuff that's coming out, it's either, like when Nas had his clothing line, it's like, it's Ghostbusters, but it's like a new era cap and it looks really cool. And I'm
going to tell you right now, that new era cap did not survive.
It didn't?
No.
Really?
Yeah, the brim of that cap, like I know a lot of people are like, you're not supposed to wear it. And I was like, what was the point of getting it then?
If I can't wear it.
And I was very careful. I did not wash it. More often than not. What I did
don't wash the hats. Yeah.
I sprayed alcohol on it and all that sort of thing. It did reach a point though, like I'm wearing it and it's summertime and all that. I put it in one of those hat protectors.
Yeah.
Put it on a gentle cycle, and the cardboard in it just disintegrated.
Yeah.
Which is okay, because the patch, however, it was easy enough to pull off and plant to another hat. So basically,
you had the black on black, that one, right? Yeah.
So that black patch is going to live on new black hats. It's going to outlive several black hats, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm excited to see when Afterlife does come out. You know, the hats and things like that. Like, hopefully those will come back around. But so yeah, check the Reebok stuff out. I mean, again, the classic leathers. I think if I was going to buy the shoes, I would purchase those. I have a pair of the Nookie Spangler shoes. So it's kind of very similar to that. And I felt like, well, I already have ones that are very similar to that, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, check them out. And I think they are still available. At least the classic leather ones are. I don't think that the Ghost Stomper ones are available anymore. But you know, cool. Like Star Wars has a bunch of the child Adidas sneakers right now, and I looked at those and I'm like, I want those. I never leave the house anymore, so what the hell do I need another pair of sneakers for to wear? But I want those, so I'm not getting those. But so speaking of things that I want and will probably not get or need, Chris, this spatial monitor that Sony was selling.
I hereby declare the spatial monitor as wonderful and beautiful. But unless technology industries can figure out how they can best use it, I don't think it's going to take over homes too quickly.
There is always, like, when you go to CES, there's always like somebody trying to do a hologram without needing glasses, like a 3D object or an image or something that is there and tangible, and you feel like you could reach out and touch it without putting on a pair of 3D glasses. And it's always like, you know, you go to CES and the display is like an apple, and there's an apple floating out in front of you, and you're like, oh, that's so cool. What am I going to use this for? Like, okay, so it's an apple. Can it move? Is there going to be some sort of, like, are you going to tell a story with it? It's almost like with AR, like people are still trying to figure out how to best utilize it for storytelling. But so this monitor, if you haven't seen it, and the only reason we bring it up is because A, it's Sony, so we're shills and we have to because we're corporate sponsored, and no, we're not, guys.
That's how rumors get started.
I know. No, we're bringing it up because they used Ghostbusters Afterlife assets to demonstrate this, and we're not entirely sure what, because they don't show it in the like teaser video, but they have been using. Like, if you remember, I don't know, probably about a year ago, they were demonstrating the same technology they're using for The Mandalorian, this like 3D virtual set where the camera is being tracked and the background behind it is moving as the camera moves around. So you get that parallax effect, making it look like you're on a location, but instead it's like LCD screens behind you. And they used Ghostbusters assets for that. They used the Ectomobile and they used the Firehouse. So for this purpose, it is a monitor that you look at just like any TV screen, but it has a camera on it that also has sort of the facial recognition, LiDAR sensing technology. So it's tracking where your eyes are, what your line of sight is, and exactly what the distortion, what the parallax effect would be from your point of view. So you're looking at the screen, and when you kind of turn to the right, you're seeing a little bit to the side. Or if you move in and you kind of look to the right of an object, you're seeing the right of the object. Again, using the Apple example, it's like there's an object floating in space in front of you, and you move around that object kind of like in virtual reality. But the object is stationary. So the guy that they interview, he's talking about prototyping watches. And he says, when I'm looking at watches, I move my eyes so that I see how the light hits it here and I see how the light hits it there. He's saying that this is a great way for him to 3D render something or ZBrush something and then put it into this space. And then he can kind of look around it with his real eyes and see how it reacts to the eye. What does that mean for storytelling? What does that mean for movies? What does that mean for watching TV? What does that mean for anything outside of putting together a $3 million watch that you're prototyping in 3D space and the guy is designing there? Or Johnny Ive is looking at the new iPhone? I don't know. I think that's basically what this is for designers. It's sort of like the new Cintiq tablet where you just have that right there, and you don't have to manufacture something. You have the 3D object in front of you. But it's cool. It's that type of technology that I look at that, I'm like, oh my God, that is the coolest thing. And it could lead to other things. It could lead to, your phone having some sort of a 3D display like science fiction where you can actually look around a photo of your mom or a photo of your kids or things like that. You can have like an actual tangible 3D holographic model of somebody. But I don't know. I mean, gaming, Chris, maybe there's applications for gaming in there, right? Possibly. Not really.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the obvious is that application for gaming is that gives you a sense of 3D without needing the VR setup. But man, it's the gaming VR world is still, hasn't hit its full stride yet. Right? They're still trying to get people to buy $600 VR setups to.
And the VR sets, I almost said EM because I'm picking up an EM screw and I'm saying VR. It's like the brain is not functioning for the words. But the VR headsets, the Oculus, it's just this big unwieldy thing. When you go to the Void, like you're putting on the giant pack and the vest and the giant goggles. Like VR is such a cumbersome technology still. I could maybe see this helping in that sense, like having that monitor or something that you don't have to wear these giant glasses possibly. But
there's a lot of questions attached to it. Number one, its field is like kind of limited to your ability to look around the screen, whereas right now with VR headsets you can do a 360 and a up and a down, right? You can do complete, you can look around in a full environment and globe. Whereas this one is limited to kind of what's in front of you sort of thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's very cool.
And I'm glad that they're using Ghostbusters. Again, it just shows how invested Sony is with Ghostbusters, that they're using these assets. Like Star Wars, if...
absolutely. There was one image in one of the stories that had an Ecto in the middle of it. And again, that may just be an extension of team working on the movie. Here are the teams working on these technologies. What kind of assets can you give them? And they said, here, you can have the car. And
here, have a 3D model of the car.
Everybody got the car. I'm desperately trying to figure out how this is supposed to go together.
Where are you on? Are you on step 3?
Yeah, just trying to orient everything in my.
I'm worried that my table is not big enough here for the assembly here. So it looks like the engine itself sits.
Oh, okay. So that goes over the. Yeah. Okay. Ugh, I need. Like I said, if they had said $75 for a mini engine winch, I would have went a winch. I would have went, yep, give it here right now.
So it's going. It looks like it's going over top of here, right?
It
makes sense because it's going.
Box.
Yeah, it's going the full body of the car here. Gearbox parts should fit neatly in a raised central area of the front middle chassis. So that gearbox goes a little something like this. Ooh, maybe no, possibly. There, that's where it snapped in. Hey-yo.
But anyways, to wrap up on the spatial screen, it's very cool.
It's very cool. It's very expensive.
It's very expensive because it's very new, and as with many very new technologies, the things they say it can be applied to are still very broad and conceptual. Whereas, for example, it took the longest. AR was kind of broad and broad for the very longest time, and then it was only in like the last, 5 to several years where they started going, yeah, you know what, AR would be great for walking around an airplane and showing you where parts need to go in the engine,
for Amazon showing you what a TV looks like in your room or something like that.
Stuff like that, right? Like it's. AR is, now quite a few places. Gaming hasn't quite 100% figured out what to do with it, other than like Pokemon and all that. But let's put it this way: Brax, Hers or Brax? Who did the Halloween?
Brax candy.
Sorry, Hers is somebody else. But Brax, did the Halloween candy box thing, which is very cool, and made a little AR game to go along with it. So AR is kind of slowly but surely hitting.
And Ghostbusters lends itself so well to the AR. Even that cool prototype game that they showed off at FanFest not even a game, like an experience where you have the AR that the ghosts are being fed into whatever the environment is that's around you.
Yeah.
That's cool, and it makes a whole lot of sense that you can place people. A Super Mario Kart Live. Finally, they've figured out a way to frighten your cats while you're playing video games. It's AR. They're just now figuring out like applications for AR. So I'm sure that they'll figure out ways to make this spatial awareness
VR.
monitor work.
They've worked out for a long time, but now it's more of a question of price point, and then content fills this place. Like, let's put it this way: 3D hasn't been a problem for a long time. They still selling a lot of 3D home televisions? Not really.
Not really.
Just because the price wasn't there, and let's put it this way. You know what? I think we just kind of cracked it a little bit. We tripped accidentally over the one thing.
We have a tendency of doing that. How did we do it? What did we do?
The biggest problem with 3D televisions at home were the glasses.
Yes.
It was at the point where you could sell people televisions, large screen flat screen televisions that ran at whatever it was, like 120 frames per second, for the frequency to do the 60, 120. What does it need? Just enough frequency to render, to show you double frames so you could flicker between the eyes.
And you're not seeing that weird,
dimming and all that. The trouble is that I think a lot of them came with, here's your 2 glasses, at which point a family of 4 went, great, we need 2 more glasses.
Yeah.
And they went, well, they're $200 each.
And then it doesn't look good from an angle over here. You got to be dead on with the TV.
And they break, or the batteries run out, or it worked. It just wasn't 100% easy for the home shopper to just adopt and run with. I put that screw in the absolutely wrong place, didn't I? Sure did.
Yeah, they trick you. There's 2 LM screws that you got to do at the top and in the middle. So I did the LMs up here, and then I did the IMs down here to kind of keep stuff in place so that I could get the ones in the middle afterwards.
But anyways,
it made sense at the time.
Those spatial TVs, the monitors are small and expensive right now. But the principle, because the main thing, here's the thing. For the longest time, 3D was about stuff in the screen coming out at you, which is the old SCTV joke about Dr. Tongue's. Ooh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then when James Cameron came along with Avatar, he was like, no. Nothing's really going to come at you all that much. What we're doing is you get to see in to the screen with depth.
You're using depth in the same way that you would be using your point of view, your mise-en-scene for all you film students. Everybody out there's a film student, so you can
just
use mise-en-scene at this point.
But yeah, the what are you?
Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
Oh my God, what is it? Is that in the way? How do I get it out of there? Why can't I see it? It is a hose. Get the hell out, hose.
Get out of here, hose.
Anyways, point being that that's perfect for home. If they can bring the price down, and if its footprint is still relatively flat, then a family of however can sit down. And
Chris, this car is going to be ginormous.
I know.
Oh my God. Okay.
The one trick would be is that now you're going to have to start filming your scenes where the director's like, perfect. What's it look like to the person 2 feet that away? Right? Like what? The scenes where
You're
it's like,
have a director running around from like here to there to like.
I'm going to show you the thing that reveals the plot of the movie, and somebody 2 feet over goes, his head's in the way. I can't see it.
I mean, it's cool in the sense that we are finding ways to use the technology to tell the stories in a different way, and in the hands of the right storyteller, it doesn't turn into the John Goodman matinee, like we're gonna do smell-o-vision. It turns into a more immersive experience, which will get people back into the theaters. And to me, that's really what I think would have some sort of advantage. But there's no way to do that. You can't have it tracking multiple people in an audience. To be in a movie theater and to have everything feel like you're in that whatever it is, if you're in the world of Avatar, if you're in the firehouse of Ghostbusters, without having to put on the glasses, because that's what always drives people crazy. Oh, the glasses give me a migraine. Oh, the glasses are uncomfortable. Oh, my glasses don't work. Oh, the active shutter on my glasses stopped working halfway through the movie. The glasses are such a detriment to the 3D experience. But if they find some way to apply this to going into a movie theater and making it feel like that thing is in front of you, that's going to be the way to do it. If you have some sort of...
That may be a ways off, because when you consider how long it took them to get from, flat screen, true color, true black, LED, whatever, screens, to what they're using on The Mandalorian, which is massive and flawless versions of it. It may take a while to, do even a small Cineplex screen version of the... Although that is the one place where the footprint doesn't matter as much. Because again, I'm not 100% sure how the technology works, but I think it might require a little bit of depth to the screen in layers, so you can actually, I don't know.
Yeah,
read up on it a bit more.
It's a cool technology, and if you haven't watched the video that was posted by the Sony Electronics people, I would check it out. I mean, it is a lengthy video, and it is very sort of corporate-y, like, it's a trade show reel, so they're showing off like what the advantages of this technology are. Oh, I just heard something pop, and that's never a good sign. What was that? Maybe it's okay.
Big air pipe. It's not pipe, but it's...
I have it on its side to put these EM screws on the bottom. It's the same. It's the same problem that they have, where you got to put the stuff on the top and then you got to put it back on the engine block, and I just don't have anything to prop it on.
Oh, this is
to do that.
All right.
Anywho.
Yeah, it is getting huge. If people can see by my meaty paws as a frame of reference.
I mean, maybe it's good that we're now getting into the video element of this. If you go to our YouTube channel, if you're listening to the audio podcast and you go to our YouTube channel, you can see the split screen here where Chris and I have our top-down cameras working on this. And maybe now, to give you a sense of the scope and the size of this thing, maybe it's a good thing we have video now. Just to now you know what we're talking about. So I don't think that goes there. Oops, I am an idiot. Yep. Come on out, screw. Maybe, possibly. Screw. Hello.
Hello. Hello.
Bueller. Bueller. Oh no. All right. I got a screw stuck because I put it in the wrong place. I was trying to talk and do things at the same time. And we know that I can't chew bubblegum and walk at the same time. Well, that's gonna fall out at some point. Don't worry about it. Okay, so
if we had gotten these much earlier, we could have cleaned up sourcing light, so it doesn't cost a lot to ship. Could be foldable cardboard too that the person puts together, but styrofoam forms that allow you to, at different stages, rest the pieces
just to
on pressure points.
Up. Yeah.
That aren't...
I mean, to your point, I wish that we had like a mini... This is where you need like the car lift that you would have in a garage to be just lifting this piece up and getting underneath it. And it is just like building a real car. Yeah. So let's see what else is happening in the world of pop culture. I mean, Borat subsequent film is lighting up the world right now.
Doesn't matter. Have you seen Ted Lasso yet?
I have not seen Ted. So here's the thing with Ted Lasso.
It is the balm for the soul that we need right now.
And I am the biggest Jason Sudeikis fan. Yes, even though he punched Baby Yoda, I love Jason Sudeikis. I need... So On the Rocks just hit on the 23rd. So now I have lined up. I have the Beastie Boys documentary, On the Rocks, Ted Lasso. Like I have all of my Apple TV Plus stuff lined up that I need to watch.
You don't have to do it in order. The Beastie Boys will still be there.
Well, I'm trying to strategically go in for that 7-day free trial and just like knock everything out at once. Just try to get it all out and
Greyhound's good too.
And Greyhound, yeah, that's everybody says Greyhound is excellent. So,
well, whatever you do, whenever you do it, do not miss Ted Lasso. It is.
Yeah, and everybody's speaking so high, and it just got picked up for a 3rd season, which is excellent news.
Which is crazy because the 2nd one hasn't even dropped yet. So
I am just hitting. This thing is so big, I just hit my B camera with it because I can't. I can't figure out the best way to do this. But yeah, Ted Lasso. We've been catching up. Because you've got obviously Mandalorian starts this week as we're taping this,
it'll have started.
It'll have already started by the time people see this. And Star Trek Discovery is 2 weeks in, so we had to rewatch the end of the 2nd season just to remind ourselves where things were at. And that it's like there's so much good stuff right now, which is good because we're getting into the fall and winter time, and everybody should be staying indoors at the moment. So. My God, we all need stuff to watch. There's plenty of things for us to watch out there now. This is insane, Chris. All right, just put that down. I have a cooler that I take to the beach that's smaller than this. EM. Okay, we gotta connect these oil pipes here. Connecting the pipes.
Laying pipe. That's not what that song was about.
Whoa.
Pro tip.
No. Kids. No.
He was working hard to satisfy his woman, but it wasn't about bringing home a paycheck.
All right, so this is going to go...
Dirty rock and roll songs, as interpreted by Chris Stewart.
Okay, it's going to go from the speaker. I keep using the speaker as my landmark now. Thanks for that. It's going to go from the speaker... Oh, no, it's on the other side. For the love of everything holy, I wish I had a way to prop this up. Let's see. All right, so it's going to go... Can you guys see that on the camera there? Okay, great. All right, so we're going to be laying this down. Is that where you're at? Are you doing the first pipe, or are you on the second pipe already?
First pipe. Just finishing it now.
Yeah, I mean it's been a little quiet, which is kind of funny because it's Halloween week as we record this, and I know that our neighborhood surprised all the kids. The Great Pumpkin went around on a flatbed trailer a couple days ago, and because none of the kids can go trick or treating, so the Great Pumpkin came around with treat bags for everybody, and it was the coolest thing. I was so glad that our neighborhood did that.
Yeah, we will still have a little bit of. They haven't shut us down for that.
Yeah, I mean it's such a strange time of year. I feel like right after Halloween we're gonna put up our Christmas decorations. Like that's just the way that this is gonna go. All right, so this is what I had trouble with last time, was getting the hoses to fit onto the pegs that they give you now.
Well, remember the thing I like to do, which is take the end of the tweezers
and just
stretch
prop it open a little bit.
Yeah, get a bit of a stretch. Oh, speaking of Apple TV, new Charlie Borman, Ewan McGregor motorcycle track.
Oh, yeah, how's that? Have you watched any of that? They're going from the tip of South or of Central America up. Is that what they're doing?
Oh no, South America.
Oh, so they are
the
in
tip
South
of South America. Like whatever. Is it Argentina at the southernmost point before you?
Yeah, and then so then they're going all the way through. I see. For whatever reason, I thought they were in Central America doing like the Latin America, Guatemala, like.
No, I don't think they've hit Guatemala, but Argentina, Chile, all that, on electric Harleys, which is interesting.
Yeah, how does that work?
The first,
Charging station wise, yeah.
well, what happened is, you know what? If you're an electric tech head,
This angle is just getting nothing but my terrible hairline. Why are we doing this on video?
if you're an electric power tech head, it's very cool to see because the Harley bikes. I don't even know if they're out now yet, but they got 2 new off the production line ones, and then Harley custom them up a bit for them, and then a company. So, for all the hullabaloo about this, Elon Musk's Cybertruck, there was a company that was skipping the car market and went right to cars, or to trucks rather. Rivian, I think they call themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Riven,
and they hadn't even reached production stage yet. They were still building their factories, but they put 2 together for them, basically bespoke 4-wheel drive adventure machines. Well, I guess not 4-wheel drive. I think all electric vehicles are 4-wheel drive, aren't they? I can't remember. Maybe not. Maybe they don't have to be necessarily. But anyways, those guys. So the first handful of episodes is really about them underestimating what it takes to travel long distances with electric vehicle, even with this, the way things are now. And it didn't help that they went down and started when things were getting cold, or were still cold in the southern tip of the continent there, and then they ended up going up mountains where it wasn't terribly snowy, but it was freezing, and it's guess what batteries don't like?
Right, cold. Have you ever taken your phone skiing with you or snowboarding and it just dies because the lithium ion is frozen?
So they had a lot of real trouble with that. But interestingly enough, Rivian as a company went ahead of them and negotiated deals with places along the route to install charge stations.
Well, that's good to also get the charge stations and the infrastructure in for these. Yeah.
Got to start somewhere, right? Yeah. So it's funny that their show may have actually kickstarted a chunk of this. But then, it's really amazing. And then it's a lot of them plotting how they're going to get to places if they got enough charge, getting real excited when they get to the other side of a mountain because they get to ride down and the things they charge on their own when you're on downhills and stuff like that. They pick up some of their charge back. Riven and Harley Davidson conferred, and about halfway through, by my estimate, informed the guys to do X, Y, and Z, and then they could charge off the trucks while the trucks were charging at certain points.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Things like that, right? Really, really kind of cool. Plus, I really like just the travel shows that they did. Those other ones.
Yeah, and it's Ewan McGregor, who is just sort of the Scottish doesn't care.
I'm done. I had to try.
These stupid hoses.
Ewan McGregor's great. Charlie Borman's pretty hilarious too. Lots of interesting stuff there because the stuff that we find out at the beginning of the show, Charlie Borman was in not one but 2 different accidents that really messed up his leg.
Oh, you're kidding! I didn't know that.
So he's back on a bike, but there's a lot of he doesn't have the stamina for those washboard roads where you have to stand up for long periods and all that. He just. So on the one hand, it's it's a show about the future. It's also watching a couple of my travel show heroes be old. It's aw.
Yeah.
That sucks. That one is good. I'm just gonna keep saying it. Ted Lasso is really great. It is just.
Well, I feel like there are a lot of those shows that we need right now.
Let's see. At its basic, it's about British people kind of have a cynical sense of humor and a cynical take on the world a lot of the times. So this is about the plucky American optimist that kind of breaks that down, while at the same time he never resorts to weird cliches. He's never they joke about him being square, but he's never 100% a square. And of course, right now, falling in love with an American, fish out of water character is not
very difficult.
a rarity.
Yeah.
We don't need Jack Reacher right now. We need Ted Lasso. So
Yes, please.
And then I just didn't realize how many people in British television. Again, it's always fun watching these shows and then realize, hey, it's so and so from such and such. Hey, it's so and so from such and such.
Wow, and they're half-hour shows. They're
23, 24 minutes each one. It's real easy to blow through it. Maria and I went through it in 3 evenings or something like that, and didn't take up the whole evening either. It was just a chunk of time that we had to watch stuff. You know what? I'm gonna look at the back of the magazine, see what we got here.
Yeah. Tell me what's in the back of this one.
You want to see what came in the mail for me though?
Yes. What do you got? Ooh.
And my
Keep on busting.
Finally came with a nice little card.
Where did those come from?
Wizard World.
Because you didn't end up getting your full spiel,
They
you were
contacted
owed.
me probably about 3 weeks ago, maybe a month, and confirmed my address and sent me the things with a nice little. Hang on, let me see if I can find it here. And a nice little. I'll angle it. Can you see it?
Oh, that's cool. That looks like the fluff, the marshmallow fluff that I saw Jason on Ghostbusters News was eating. So a little card from Wizard World saying, hey, sorry you didn't get X, Y, and Z.
What did it say here? Hi, Chris. Thank you for your patience while we got the autographs for you. Hope you're staying safe and healthy. Best, Marisa.
Marisa?
Help me?
Huh. New person. No,
she's. I was like, that name is familiar, and I was wondering if she was the one that the Yes Have Some crew had talked to. I don't know about that. I'm 100% sure she's the woman that replied to my email when I first wrote.
I was gonna say, the Yes Have Some interview was with somebody. Laney. Is
That's
that
it.
right?
So Marisa she's been taking care of me the entire time. It does not change the reality of the event, but it was very nice that I finally got my. I'm joking though that I now have a signed Paul Feig photo. I have the selfie I took with him at Mann's Chinese Theater, or whatever the Chinese theater is called. I keep calling it Mann's because I'm old.
Yeah, Grauman's Chinese, yeah.
Grauman's Chinese Theater. And then the call sheet that I believe Mr. Bob Cronin, got me from Answer the Call. And as Mr. Feig was running by, I ran up and asked him to sign it. So I'm like... a
lot of Feig autographs.
I'm a tie clip and some votive candles away from a Paul Feig shrine here in my basement.
You need a heavyweights autograph now. That's what's missing.
Let's see here. Winston's World, so an Ernie Hudson interview.
Winston's World. That's cool.
I'd watch that. There's your spin-off show.
Yeah.
Oh my god. A total what do they call them? Is it 3-camera sitcoms? The classic sitcom.
Three camera sitcom Winston's World.
Ernie Hudson and his family live in, I don't know, somewhere Staten Island, something like that. What's drivable when he's on call in the city.
I could see him being in like upstate somewhere.
Upstate,
He's got like a nice little acre home that he.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of he's got a barn and a workshop. See, he doesn't farm anything, but he's got metalworking tools and the library ghost. That was actually the coolest thing about. Did you? You probably haven't watched the Ashley Burton.
I have not.
Video?
No.
I'll tell you right now. If you go and you say skip through her opener, where she mostly talks about she hasn't seen it and what people said about it going in. And then afterwards, where she kind of gives it a review, you can really kind of watch. She jump cuts through the movie, so you can probably do it in like 10 minutes.
Well, that's good.
And it was very satisfying to see her still react to the library ghost.
So she still jumps. It's still a startle for her?
Startled, yeah. I don't think it was the biggest startle ever. It was funny that she immediately identified Venkman as being sketchy in his interactions with his student, but then promptly went on to 100% love him just for his one-liners. Like there's,
Venkman is one of those characters where he is a flawed protagonist, but the best protagonists are flawed, and you got to see through it. Han Solo shooting poor Greedo in a bar, and oh wow, okay. Sorry, I skipped to the end here. Library Ghost. Oh, this is really cool. All about Ernie and Winston.
Sorry,
this is great. I'm gonna have to read this off camera.
Stuff I can get away with when it's doing audio.
I just hear it on the other one.
Exactly. So did we miss anything? Did we cover everything?
I think that's everything. So I mean, what do you got in terms of final thoughts for this week, Chris? We've successful test finally with the video. I'm feeling pretty good about that. So if you're listening to this on our usual audio podcast feed, please check out the Crossrip YouTube channel. We've got a great split screen where you can watch top down Chris and I working on our kits here. But what do you got in terms of final thoughts?
Still some fine tuning to go here. I don't know.
I have a lot of I have hoses that are still hanging off, and I think maybe it's stuff that popped off. But
no, there were some in previous steps hoses that were not complete yet.
There were, right? Yeah.
They did not have a terminating point. Plus, there's one that I'm looking at that I know is hanging loose because the stupid peg fell off, and now I got to go back and try and figure out where the heck it was.
Figure out which one that was. Yeah.
I got to glue it on.
But yeah,
I don't really have a lot of final thoughts. I hope people like the WGBI.
They did. I mean, based on the feedback we got on social media, and I noticed that a lot of people do mention that's what they look forward to every year is that WGBI.
Because it seems like I never hear about it, so I'm glad people are enjoying it.
Our Twitter account on the Facebooks, we got a couple of good comments about the WGBI as well. For those of you that are watching the YouTube feed, if you go to our podcast, you have to subscribe to our podcast to get the WGBI stuff because of copyright law.
We could load it up on YouTube and it would be nothing but like broken silence. It will be
gone. But there's fun rarities in there. You did like I said, you had a Firestarter theme that I thought was very funny, and some voices at the beginning too. Were those all you? Did you just pitch your own voice?
Nope.
No. I was going to say, because a few people sounded familiar, and I was like, that's not Chris. I don't think that's Chris.
No, that is a terrifying look into the future. That was one of several companies around the world doing deep fake voices. You can go to their website and test it by typing in text, and they had like 5 or 6 I guess the one I used was an Australian company, and they had a handful of notables, sportscasters and all that in Australia. And I plugged it in. And if you listen to it now with me having said it, you'll probably notice some vague roboticism inflections.
It sounded like you, but then in some instances it didn't sound like you. And I was like, well, did he reach out to I thought maybe Paul Gannon might have done one because there's kind of like a British sounding.
It was a dumb idea I had at the exact last minute, like as I was putting the last, because what I tend to do is I have an idea, I think about it all year round, and if I have an idea for like a song and stuff, I kind of start stitching it together, and then I have to stitch those together. And I was heading in one direction and then went entirely in another, like in the last couple of days, and I ended up, there was no real time to get other people in on the act sort of thing. So I just went, I knew they were out there and I tried one, and man, that's where computer voices has gotten to. And that was just the quick and dirty one that they were learning
really
how to play with through the
really
website.
Scary.
I think I said it before, if you go listen to 20,000 Hertz podcast, about a month ago, they had an episode where he wanted to talk about deep fake audio voices. found a company, and this is how I found out. All of them. This one, the one that he talked about, didn't have. That one had an online thing where you could start reading in your own, because that's what it does. Is you read off samples of text, and then it starts pulling out the phonemes, and then handing it into the deep fake to learn. So if you say a phoneme several different times, it starts to learn how you say a particular phoneme, and then you can start typing in text, and then it knows what phonemes it needs to stitch together, how to get a thing.
Weird.
And they, in order to do that episode, he opened with his opening monologue, and about 3 paragraphs in or something, you start going, "What is going on here?" At which point he breaks in and interrupts himself and goes, "What's going on here?" and has a conversation with himself. Because what we've been listening to is they let him do the full package, generated a voice package for him. He plugged in his script lines, it spat it out, and he cut it into his episode. So throughout the whole episode, he's talking with his computer self. And once you know,
but this is how you have like your actors come back from the dead. You have your
this is how civilization falls. This is what really
this is how you have incriminating audio of somebody saying something that they didn't mean, and you go
because he talks about that. He talked about like they had a bit with Bush Jr. President Bush, and it was very obviously goofy. I can't remember exactly what he was talking about, but it was very over the top goofy. So that and then he still made the point of saying that was not the real president, and he pointed out that this is the kind of thing that can get is going to cause a real problem down the line. Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, I love the idea that this is what's going to this is what in 15 years time will let us do a Ghostbusters 6 by that point, where they do flashbacks to the original team.
With all young 1987, 88, 89-ish. Yeah.
Deepfakes will handle the how the guys look and how the guys sound. Like, it's just...
You're just going to be able to just fan cast whatever movies. Like, I'm going to have Burt Reynolds, Harrison Ford, and Bill Murray in a movie together. And Paul Newman's going to guest star.
Did you see the clip I posted online? So there's... I forget the name of the app. But theirs is very rigid in that you talk into it, you do a selfie video, then you pick the celebrity, it feeds your clip over to their servers where they have all the AI templates for different celebrities, maps it back over years and spits it back to you. So I actually filmed Ernie Hudson doing the hiring scene, like with my phone, looking at my laptop, fed that into the app, and it beautifully mapped Eddie Murphy on top of it. And like I said, here we are talking about voice. If I had a way to get an Ernie Hudson AI voice, I could plug in the lines and just copy them over. And suddenly it's a scene of Janine interviewing Eddie Murphy for the role of Winston.
That's both cool and extremely scary.
I know, right? Instantly you go, that is the coolest thing ever. And then you start thinking of the implication. You go, this is not good at all. Wait a minute.
No.
Anyway, maybe that's my final thought, kids. There's cool stuff coming, and it has a dark side that's not going to be great.
Socrates, question everything here. But
civilization is built on trust, and we're already halfway through what's a lie, what's a truth. And once we add in that last layer, I don't know if civilization... We may have to just go, well, it's back to churning butter the hard way. I don't know.
Oh, no. Well,
that's my final thought.
Churning butter the hard way. Welcome to the Downfall of Civilization podcast. We're going to go another hour here talking about just how terrible things have gotten.
I'll tell you right now, I've written them angry letters. They have not responded to me. But if I can get that app to do a Werner Herzog face map,
you are cowards.
I'm paying the monthly fee. You'll be
cowards.
seeing Werner Herzog.
All right. Well, please
video
go
clips left, right, and center from me.
Yeah. Subscribe to
everything.
both
me
YouTube.
reading out my shopping list. Have you frozen?
Yeah, that's true.
You have.
But yeah, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the podcast so that you can get the WGBI mix that we've been talking about. And until next time, everybody, we'll see you on the other side. Wait, I waved with the wrong hand. You can't see it. Bye, everybody.